to escape in between these walls. Time is getting late, wondering where you are. Need to get it straight, cause I think I'm falling hard. I'm falling, so save me. Just save me. Hear my alarm. It's calling, I'm waiting for you. Don't let me down, 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 I'm waiting. Waiting for you, waiting for you. Don't let me down, down.
Well, this is interesting. Got a street truck here that he's pulled up. Now we got a guy trying to back in, which rest areas are not designed for backing. Yep, just tear up the landscaping, bud. Don't get stuck. Not designed for backing. Oh boy, he might high center this truck. He doesn't back into somebody else in the process. Note that he has not gotten out to look once. He could be about ready to hit the truck on his blind side and never even know it. Flashing your lights at him doesn't do any good. He's bound and determined to back into that spot. Don't get impatient with him, even if he is doing it the wrong way. He's almost got. Oh wait, there's a get out and look. I mean, it can be done. You can back into a spot in a rest area, but it's really not designed for it.
Straight on ramp to I-77 South.
Buddy, you got no lights on that trailer? Welcome to McDonough, Georgia. We're just south of Atlanta, headed back up to Virginia. I ran down to Jacksonville, delivered that load. Now I'm headed back up to Virginia to deliver a load of peanuts. Got 44,000 pounds of peanuts behind me. There's supposed to be a slowdown coming up. And if I know anything about Georgia traffic, especially around Atlanta, it can come to a grinding halt right quick. Gotta watch out for the merging traffic too.
Speed limit reduced ahead.
Because Atlanta drivers do not know what the word merge means. They just push their way in. It's not as bad as New York though. New York, they get crazy. New York, New Jersey, Chicago. Whoa. Easy on the lane changes there, bud. Just cut off that four-wheeler and jerk that trailer around, will you? No turn signal. Normal Atlanta. Most of this traffic's gonna exit. Willing to bet. Whoa. Yep, typical Atlanta. 3-lane cross. Just to hit the exit. That could have gone south real quick, too. It's things like this that prompt instructors to teach the drivers going through CDL school. Keep your head on a swivel. Expect the unexpected. You gotta look way ahead. As you spend time on the road, you get to know how a particular city drives. Each one has its own flavor. Chicago, for example, stop signs are a suggestion. I'm not joking on that. Speed limit, also a suggestion.
2 miles ahead.
10 to 15 miles an hour over is not unusual. I'm not saying do it, I'm just saying that that's normal. New York. The easiest way to explain New York and New Jersey is everybody hates everybody. And number one is most important, and anybody who's in their way is, well, in their way and inconvenient. Atlanta. I'm pretty sure all of the rules of the road are just simply suggestions in Atlanta. Like that. That would have been a nasty one to catch on camera.
3/4 of a mile, take exit 227 on the right, onto I-675 toward Greenville.
California, in general, it's just a lot of cars packed into a small space.
0.3 miles ahead. Take exit 227 to I-675 north.
If you've ever driven Los Angeles traffic at 6 o'clock at night, you know exactly what I'm
Take
talking
exit
about.
227 to I-675 north.
Dallas, Houston, San Antonio, all your major Texas cities. I mean, Texas in general is just, it's hard to explain how they drive. I mean, with an average state speed limit of 75 miles an hour, it's not unusual to see 85 to 90 on the slow side.
9.4 miles ahead. Take ramp to I-285 east.
You gonna let me over? You're gonna be that. Alright. You're gonna be coming to a stop here real soon. I really want to get in that right lane, but can't really. Not right now. Seattle, the traffic in and of itself in Seattle's not bad. The layout of Seattle is confusing. I still haven't figured it out. Now, I don't spend much time in Seattle, so I don't have much room to talk there. Portland's pretty straightforward. Salt Lake City sounds like it should be pretty simple, especially when you understand that they work on a coordinate system and the temple is the center of the grid. But unless you know exactly where the temple is, their system makes no sense. Alright, so we're going to be running 675 over here to I-285 East. We're going to be going around Atlanta. And from there, we should be jumping on 85 North to run to 77. Follow that up to 81. So one of the things with being an over-the-road driver, going back to the discussion I was having about traffic. Every part of the country has its own demographic. They have their own culture. Even within cities, they have their own culture. And as an over-the-road driver, you have to learn how to drive in a particular city.
In 5 miles, exit right onto I-285 toward Greenville.
And with that, you also have to learn what neighborhoods are safe. You go to LA, everybody's heard of Compton. Go to New York, you've heard of Harlem. As an over-the-road driver, you will make deliveries in those areas. I've done fish market deliveries in Harlem. I've done grocery deliveries in Compton. Ralph's Warehouse, Compton, California. Funny story with that, with one of my students. That's another story for another day. He does watch my channel. He'll know exactly what I'm talking about, and he's probably gonna belly laugh the whole time thinking about it. That's part of what gives an over-the-road driver experience that you can't get as a local or regional driver. Now, I understand that people have families at home. They want to be home with their families. Over the road, you're going to be on the road 3 to 7 weeks at a time. Go home for 3 or 4 days a month. That's hard on a lot of families. That's hard on young kids. It's hard on marriages, fiancés, girlfriends, whatever. Now, I started this channel as a tutorial channel, and I do stick to those roots. But a lot of it comes down to trying to pass on knowledge. A lot of it comes down to passing knowledge on to people who are looking at getting into the industry. This isn't an easy job. It isn't a job for everyone. I'll be the first to tell you that. Just because you can pass the CDL test does not mean you will do well driving a truck. You gotta spend a lot of hours behind the wheel. And you gotta keep your brain sharp while you do it. Yesterday, for example, I worked an 18-and-a-half-hour day before I got parked for the day. And I hadn't even eaten dinner yet. Dead on my feet, exhausted. But I was sitting in a dock, waiting to get loaded. Clock ran out. Still got to get to a place to park. Truck doesn't move itself. I started my day at 2 o'clock in the morning. Didn't finish it until almost 6 o'clock last night. Now, I'm not going to say that that's going to be every day. Kind of depends on what part of the industry you're in. Also kind of depends on what loads you're hauling. There have been times where I've done that 3-4 days in a row before I get a break. Our standard clock is 70 hours and 7 days, 8 days officially. But if you're driving 10 hours a day, you're gonna burn up that clock in 7 days, I guarantee it. That means in a 7-day period, we're working the equivalent of a standard hourly job in 1 week. And that's just on the 11-hour clock. We've got a 14-hour clock. If we're ticking over to the 14-hour clock every day, you can easily pull a 120-hour day on the clock. And that's not even talking about showers, meals, everything else. A lot of long, hard hours. It's something for you to think about if you're looking at coming into the industry. It's not easy. It's not just sit behind the wheel and drive. A lot of that work also depends on the season. Come winter time, you might have to get out and shovel snow. Might have to throw chains. Chains aren't light. Full set of chains is 400 to 425 pounds of iron. You got to chain up in 30 minutes. And take chains off and hang them up and put them away in 30 minutes. That's work. Been there, done that. And that's if you're doing no touch free. Depending on what company you work for, it might be driver unload. You might be doing 3 or 4 stops, driver unload, having to unload 44 to 48,000 pounds free. If you're running flatbed, you got chains, straps, tarps. Those tarps aren't light. The black tarps, I want to say those are about 80 to 120 pounds a piece, depending on size. Might have to throw 3 or 4 of those. Chain binders, 50 to 60 pounds to a set, and that's for the light ones. I'm just throwing these little tidbits out for anyone who's looking at coming into the industry. Things you need to take into consideration before you decide to jump behind a wheel. Because no matter how long your day's been, no matter how much hard labor you've done that day, no matter the weather conditions, you've got to be on your toes at all times. You got to watch it with junctions like this. You'll have people jumping lanes because they realize, oh, this is an exit only, or I need that exit. They can get kind of crazy, as you just saw. The other thing you'll see is they'll jump out of line to get up to the front, jump back in. Like that. Or they'll wait until the last second to get in. And it's not just four-wheelers. I've seen 18s do it too. Unfortunately. I'm in the sad position of having to say that not all of my fellow drivers are as professional as they should be. It doesn't matter what city you're talking about. Yep, just cross that gore area. Because that's totally legal. Not. Now, since we got a Tesla here,
Slow down within the next 1 mile. Please use caution.
I'm going to bring up another point. That Tesla Auto Drive is absolute crap. Now, I'm not the only ones that have been playing around with it, but the engineers, when they designed it, they programmed it for changing lanes and predicting traffic for four-wheelers only. The number of times I have seen a Tesla in auto drive with the driver in the passenger seat. Hey, bud, get back in your lane. Yeah, your lane, not mine. Okay, I'll just hang back here then. The number of times I've seen those Teslas in auto drive take some downright precarious moves to change lanes, take exits, whatever. I don't trust those damn cars to save my life because they'll probably kill me. I know Kia's come out with an auto drive system. Honda's got one. Tesla is the best known. I think Hyundai's got one. There's a number of other companies that have dabbled in it. But in every case I've seen over the last 2 years, ain't worth it. Freightliner and Kenworth have been starting to play with it too on some of their trucks. It is an option. It's downright scary watching what that computer decides is safe. I'm not saying that the technology is a bad idea, but what I will say is that at this point, it's not a safe idea. It has flaws in its programming.